Hi there, thank you so much for clicking the thumbnail and being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I scale a photograph, work out the background colour, and then do an outline with using a quarter grid. So be sure to watch it right through till the end, because here and there I'll be slowing things down in real time so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. There's my beautiful niece, Alison. So I just brought in the photograph and now I'm just going to scale the actual image to 12 width, 16 inches height, and I put 300 dpi in that box there. So then what I wanted to do as well is have a little bit more area above her head, so I'm just scaling it up so it creates a bit more space at the top, and then I can fill that in with background colour then. And just moving the grid to make it so it's balanced. Then what I do then is make a duplicate layer and then make the first layer invisible. So then I select the eraser tool and then just take out that background, and that will reveal a transparent layer underneath. So what I can do then is just add another layer and then just use the paint bucket tool and then just select different colours to try and see which looks best. So it's just a case of playing about really and choosing a colour and then just seeing what works. The purple colour in the end, because that brings out the yellow tones in the skin, which will make it warmer. Now to create the quarter grid on this program, all I'm doing is dragging down the guides down to half the height and half the width. So one's 6 inches and one's 8. But if you decided you want to use this as a grid for like a 2 inch, 3 inch or 4 inch grid, you can just add more of those guides, but I'm just using it as a quarter grid with this portrait. I'm using a CarbOthello 708 pencil, grey pencil, to mark the grid up. I prefer to just use a centre point and work from that, but I'm just showing you how using a grid ends up as a quarter grid and then you go to the point. So I'm just wanting to illustrate how to use the last grid you'll use before going to a centre point. The easiest way to do is make sure that your reference image is as small as you can so you can see the whole of it. I always start off drawing the outer part of the head shape and then just use the grid. You see in the whole foregrid at once. It's ever so difficult to put in words, but you're just trying to keep it sort of relaxed so you don't get too attached to this grid. It's just there just to actually give you some idea. But what I'm tending to do here is actually focus just on that centre point as well, like I would normally, but just have a sneaky look now and again at where that grid is. But I'm not getting attached to it. I'm trying to use the same method I normally do, which is just using the centre point. Now it's a combination of using the actual kneaded eraser and the pencil obviously, so it's just you're actually moulding or sculpturing the actual shapes. See, I'm drawing these teeth at the moment, but I am also aware of where the eyes and the nose is and everything else is, and it's all comes together, and it's just a matter of just having faith and just having a go, because you can always erase it. It's not easy to explain what happens here, it's just more or less automatic, but it's a case of just using vertical and horizontal lines to find the area, and then you're comparing one area to another. But what you see me doing here is just doing one square at the moment, but I'm comparing the size, the width to the height, and then just picking areas and just making sure it's the same as the reference image. If you're enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. It's all a matter of just first putting light lines in, just guessing where it could be, and then using your pencil to actually measure and then compare the width against the height, and then using the pencil horizontally, so you're checking the horizontal alignment with the vertical as well. So it's all a matter of just keep comparing. The more you can compare, the easier it becomes. What I did, I looked in a mirror and I actually saw that that wasn't correct, so I needed to check it. So I'm checking it now, and then it needed to be moved in a little bit, so here we am just moving it in a little bit. So it's just a case of just keep doing that, is getting the mirror out, keep looking at the reflection so you see it in a different light, and just keep going backwards and forwards until you get that balance. It's all a matter of just comparing. Right, so with the eye, just jump in there and just have a go, just try and find the area, and then what you do then is compare what you've drawn with other things and look in the mirror as well and see what that looks like, and then you make adjustments accordingly. So that's what I'm doing here. You see, I'm just checking, and I found that eye wasn't correct, so I had to rub it out and start again. Then I knew I had to measure, you see. So first have a go, and then measure, and then compare, and then get the sort of balance. It'll just appear, the balance will just happen. It's ever so strange how it works, but it's just a case of having a go. Like I just put some marks in there, just random marks, and then just see what happens, and then I'll start measuring. So I'm comparing and measuring, then I'll adjust accordingly. All the time I'm drawing, I'm connecting to the energy of the subject, so I'm connecting to Alison here, and really opening it up and letting her energy come into mine and let it flow out my hands. So it opens up your senses, so you get to sort of know or have an instinct that things probably not in the right place, or things are in the right place, because when you're starting to draw the lines, the energy of the person, subject, shines out, but some lines it might not, so then you alter that line until it does shine out. So every mark I'm drawing here, I'm sensing Alison's energy, and if I don't sense it, there's something wrong, so I keep moving things around until I do sense it. Just like to take this opportunity to thank all my Patreons for your generous support every month by pledging. It means a lot to me, and it gives me the opportunity to carry on with the free content on YouTube. If you are considering joining me on Patreon and would like to receive the benefits of longer, slower and more in-depth videos, please check out the description below for more details. Now when I draw the teeth, I do check on a vertical plane how it aligns with other elements within the face, so I'm forever doing that. And just making sure your pencils keep sharp as well, but just moving things around, having a play just to see if it works, and again you've got that sense that things are right or not, but use your rubber to actually sculpture the actual shape of the lines, so you don't worry about putting the marks down, because you can just erase it. So that's what makes it more fun to do as well, because you're not, it's no problem, is there? If you've put a mark in the wrong place, you can just rub it out and change it. So it's just a case of keep doing that, really. So I'm backwards and forwards with rubber, but I really enjoy it. I just take my time. I do spend quite a lot of time doing the outline. I mean, I think this took me over an hour to draw, but I feel that if you don't get the outline correct, everything else is harder work because you keep moving things around. So it's all stages. I mean, the next stage I'll do, which will be the actual underdrawing, I can move it around and create a little bit of form as well and correct things, but I like to get as accurate as I can at this stage because it makes the following stages more easier and more fun because you're not having to correct too much of what you've done before. What I've found is the key thing with drawing an outline is to keep a constant awareness of every element within the portrait, and everything balances up then. So even if it's just a line across the shoulders or even a strand of hair, there's a connection to everything. It all sort of merges into one energy. So it's a case of just keeping yourself really open all the time, and while you're drawing it, you spread your vision so you're aware of everything else as well. It's hard to put in words really, it's just a case of experiencing it and then you'll know what I mean. When you're drawing the hair as well, just see the actual strands as shapes. So drawing the big shapes of the hair first and then get smaller and smaller. I try and actually create the same sort of shape and balance because it makes it more relaxing then, rather than just doing a random hair strokes. I try and keep it as close as I can to what the reference is, so it makes it more sort of relaxing then when I start to do the underdrawing and the rich colours. So this way you don't get lost in the actual pattern of things. So if you can create it as close as you can, you don't get lost in it, then it just becomes more fun and less stressful. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? It would mean so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. I always tend to like to put the white highlight in the pupil when I'm doing the outline. It just sort of helps with getting the feeling correct as well. I mean, it's so important to get the correct placement of the highlights and the pupils. Just showing you here how I double check everything, just make sure everything's correct, just comparing each area, making sure it's the same as what the reference is. It feels good to get rid of that grid and then have the freedom then just to be spontaneous. I didn't use it much really, I just kept the idea on just the center point, but I put it there just to give you an idea of what you can do once you've started with the 1 inch grid. Then you go to 2 inch, 3 inch, then you end up with a quarter grid, and then you end up then with just a point in the middle where it crosses over, and that's called the center point. So that sort of quarter grid is the last grid really when you're practicing drawing freehand. That's if you do use a grid method. Like I say, I've got a video in my channel, 3 ways how to draw the outline, so please check that out. I'll go into quite a lot of detail on each method. I'll leave a link in the description below for you. I like to make sure the corner of the mouth is correct as well. It's a really important part of a portrait, so it'll really take quite a lot of time just making sure that that is placed in the correct position. So just sharpen up areas now, just making sure, keep looking in the mirror a lot, I do at this stage, and just moving things slightly. Like I say, the underdrawing you'll be able to move things as well, but it's just trying to get as close as I can with the outline. Just makes everything so much easier then when you get the next stage. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what outline method you prefer to do. It'd be great for the community. You know, if you've got any ideas or any tips, please share with us with that. This portrait will be a series of 3 videos. Obviously the first one, the outline, then it will be the skin tones, and then the final one will be the hair to the finished portrait. So please check out and look out for those. If you're interested in seeing more of my videos, here's some video links that you might find interesting. Bye for now, take care.